Power to ratify treaties naman tayo, guys, no? So, sa power to ratify treaties, ito yung mga posibleng lumabas, no? Kasi nung taong ko, if I remember correctly, tinanong din tong treaty, no? So, una, who has the power to ratify treaties? The President. The Senate will only give its concurrence. At tawag dyan, legislative concurrence. No? Senate lang po, hindi buong Congress. Next is, paano po magkakaroon ng valid concurrence yung Senate? Two-thirds of all its members, no, must vote in favor of its two-thirds, at least two-thirds of all the senators, all the members of Senate must give their concurrence. So, ilan po ba yun, no? Nahina tayo sa math. 2 times 24, divide mo sa 3. 16. Okay. 16 out of 24 must concur, no, to this treaty so that it will become effective in the Philippines. Otherwise, hindi po siya magiging effective in the Philippines. However, the treaty was already ratified kapag nag-act ang president, pag pinirmahan ni presidente. Okay? Sige. Other than that, next topic is the difference between treaties and executive agreement. So, paano po natin sila pag-iibahin, no? Paano natin pag-iibahin ng treaty sa executive agreement? Ito po, no, in the case of EPAP versus Honorable Ochoa, no? Ito po, executive agreements, no? Unang-una, executive agreements do not need legislative concurrence, no? Only the president will ratify the same, no? And it will already be effective in the Philippines. Okay. So ito po ang ilan sa mga distinctions between the two. Okay, so executive agreements, no, historically, they cover subjects such as uh, commercial and consular relations between states, most favored nation rights, patent rights, trademark and copyright protection, postal and navigation arrangements, and the settlement of claims. Okay? So, yan po yung yan yung isa sa mga distinctions, no? So, pag sinabi yung executive agreement, history, no? Based on history, they only deal with commercial or consular relations, no? On the other hand, treaties, no? Treaties, hindi executive agreements, treaties deal with political relations. O yan, timely na naman tayo. Sabihin natin, nag-execute ng, magtatayo po ng base ng ibang bansa sa Philippines. Executive agreement o treaty? Treaty yun. Kasi political. Hindi naman na konsulang itatayo eh. Hindi naman commercial in nature eh. Base na yan eh. Hindi ba ng ibang bansa lalagay mo sa Philippines? Treaty po yan. Okay? Treaty yan. So, kailangan ng concurrence by the Senate. Tingnan nyo, ba't maganda? Ba't maganda rin yung ganong provision sa Constitution? Kasi iba ay political eh. Imagine maglalagay ng base ng ibang bansa sa Philippines. Hindi pwedeng isang department lang ang magde-decide. Dapat the legislative department will also have a say. 'Di ba? Kailangan meron din silang say sa mangyayaring to. Okay? Kaya hinihingi din po yung two-third vote ng all the members of Senate. O 'di ba? So hindi pwedeng sabi ni President magtayo ka ng base dito. Hindi automatic makakapagtayo kasi may kailangan ng concurrence ng Senate. O ngayon, attorney, bakit Senate lang? Tandaan nyo, ba't Senate lang? Di ba dapat buong Congress? Ito pa ang wisdom. Pag sinabi mo kasing treaty, di ba national in nature? Di ba? Hindi nga national eh. International in nature. Ano ba ang tawag sa pag senador ka? Di ba national official ka? Kapag House of Representatives, local. Di ba? Sa mga ibang bagay, di ba kailangan yung sa local nag-originate yung bills like sa appropriation bill, private bill, di ba? Bills of local application, tariff bill, revenue bill, no? Lahat ng mga yan, magsisimula dapat, they must originate with the lower house. Which makes sense because the lower house, no, are more in tune, di ba? More knowledgeable about the local affairs of the Philippines. On the other hand, kapag international in nature yan, di ba? The Senate, di ba, is more knowledgeable kasi nga national elective official eh. See? Kaya, ganyan, ako, hindi ko naman sinasabing ito yung reasoning nila, ano, no, nung constitutional framers natin. I'm just saying ito, para di niya makakalimutan. We need to make sense of things. Ganito ko siya ginagawa para di ko makalimutan. I give reasons. I think about why is this uh, included in the Constitution? Or why is this included in the RPC, in the Civil Code, in the Corporation Code, in the NIRC, and so on and so forth? You need to make sense of things para hindi mo siya makakalimutan. If you know the reason behind the law, or if you have a reason behind the law, which makes sense, no? The reasoning makes sense. Hindi naman siya reasoning out of nowhere, no? Hindi siya reasoning na nawala yun sa katotohanan. If it makes sense, hindi mo makakalimutan. Ngayon, isipin nyo ngayon, okay, sa treaty po, kailangan lang mag-concur dyan yung Senate kasi nga international. A national official sa Congress, sa legislative, senador lang naman eh. Well, you can say na yung mga you can say na yung mga party list representative, national din naman ang bumoboto sa kanila, pero lower house pa din sila part, di ba? Lower house. Okay? Itong isa, talagang well, upper house to eh. So, you get the point, no? Basta, just make sense of things, no? Sabihin natin, may mga topics ako na dinatakal dito kasi pre-week naman to. Pre-week lecture naman to. Hindi naman to lecture ng buong syllabus ng political law, ng remedial law, ng criminal law. Hindi naman po. So, yan ang suggestion ko sa inyo. No? Now that you have how many months? 2 months, more or less, no? To study everything. Ang suggestion ko is make sense of things. Kung hindi nyo kayang gawa ng example, hindi lagi kayang gawa ng example, alam ko yun. Alam ko hindi laging kayang gawa ng example kasi mahirap ang batas, di ba? Mahirap pong intindihin ang batas. Ah, however, kung di mo kaya, ang part 2 mo, di pala part 2, ang second move mo, if you cannot make an example, that's the first move. Second move mo is find the reason behind the law. Find why this provision is enacted by Congress, by the people, kasi Constitution, yun po. Okay, so yan ang una, commercial versus political. Next is legislative concurrence. Isa kailangan, isa hindi. Tatlo siguro pwede na kung three-pointer na question to. Tatlo na to pwede na. Yung pangatlo is, tandaan nyo, uh, treaties are permanent in nature. Permanent character. International agreements of permanent character usually take the form of treaties, while arrangements which are temporary in nature usually take form of executive agreements. Okay? Executive agreements. Okay? Sige. Like ano ba? Yung mga deal sa deal between states ng mga pag-import export ng mga alam niyo na pag nag-state visit yung ibang yung presidente pumunta sa bansa na to. Alam niyo na, pwede pumunta sa Pilipinas o sa ibang bansa, di ba nagkakaroon ng mga deals? O bibili kami ng toneladang bigas sa inyo, sabing ganun. Normally hindi treaty, syempre. Hindi treaty yan, di ba? Commercial in nature eh. And temporary lang siya. Kasi syempre, hindi naman every year, ganun, di ba? Baka next year hindi na. Okay? This year lang siya. Something like that. Okay? Ayun. So, yan, tatlo na yun. Tandaan nyo. Next tayo, eto, no? So, natakil naman sa Constitution, paano mag-concur sa treaties. Ang problem po kasi, hindi nilagay sa Constitution paano mag-withdraw. Paano ba tayo mag-withdraw sa mga treaties na pinasok ng Pilipinas? Diyan po papasok yung kaso ni Pangilinan versus Cayetano. Okay? The President, as a general rule, can withdraw from a treaty. Okay? As a matter of policy in keeping with our legal system. So that's the general rule. Okay? However, the President may not unilaterally withdraw from a treaty sa tatlong pagkakataon. Okay? Ay, dalawang pagkakataon lang pala. Una is when the Senate conditionally concurs such that it requires concurrence also to withdraw. So, ibig sabihin, yung mismong concurrence ng Senate, nakasulat dyan. The Senate reserves its right to withdraw. Oh, yan, may ganun dialogue. So, pag isinulat talaga dyan expressly, that means Hindi tayo makakapag-withdraw sa treaty without the concurrence of the Senate. Okay? Next, when the withdrawal itself will be contrary to a statute or to a legislative authority to negotiate and enter into a treaty or an existing law which implements a treaty. So, law. May pinasang law yung Congress and the withdrawal will violate the statute. Okay? It will violate the statute. Okay. May isa pa eh. May isa pa. May isa pa yung congressional ano eh? Impratur. Wait. Nawala sa isip ko. Ayan. Where legislative nabulol ako. Where legislative imprimatur impelled the president's action to enter into a treaty, a withdrawal cannot be effected without concomitant legislative sanction. Yun yung point ko. Yun yung pangatlo. Okay, so una is conditional concurrence. Pangalawa is the withdrawal will contravene a law in the Philippines. Okay? Next is ayan. Where legislative imprimatur, nabulol talaga ako, impelled the president's action to enter into a treaty, ibig sabihin, the initiative, yan lang ang point niyan. The initiative to enter into a treaty came from the legislature. Okay? Senate specifically, no? The Senate stated, no? Or stated tuloy. The Senate initiated, no? Ano ba? The making of that treaty. And the President acted on this imprimatur. On this imprimatur. Hirap. Minsan ang hirap talaga ng English. Okay. Anyway. Yun, no? So, yung tatlo na yun, tandaan nyo. Okay? Anyway, yung pong withdrawal sa valid, no? Sa Rome Statute, valid siya. Yung pag-withdraw ng Philippines. No? Kasi, uh, none of the exceptions are present. No? None of them are present. Okay, so general rule will apply, which is the president can withdraw from the treaty without any intervention from the Senate. Okay, move tayo to the next topic. No? Ano ba yung next topic natin? Next topic, reacquisition of citizenship. No? So sa reacquisition of citizenship po, pwede tayo matanong in two aspects. No? The first one is sa elective officials. Pangalawa, sa appointive officials. Tandaan niyo, huwag kayong matakot dun sa sa admission to the practice of law. 'Di ba kasi sabihin natin, ang lawyers dapat Pilipino, 'di ba? Hindi pwedeng ibang bansa ang magiging lawyer sa Philippines. Nasa constitution 'yan. Ah, tama na sa constitution yan kasi all professions, 'di ba? Sa constitution nakalagay dapat Filipinos, okay? So, with that being said, sabihin natin may dating Pilipino, naging US citizen, ni-renounce yung Philippine citizenship, abogado siya sa Pilipinas before. O later on, nagbago na sitwasyon, gusto niya na bumalik sa Philippines, naging Pilipino na siya ulit, no? Oath of allegiance na under RA 9225 yung Pilipino, Pilipino na siya ulit. Okay? O dahil Pilipino na siya ulit, can he uh, practice na agad na sa Philippines? Huwag kayong mag-alala, hindi na kita tatanungin sa political law dyan. This is a topic na sa ethics na. Ano, yung what should what should this person perform? What should he do or she do? What should he do? What should he do? No? Before he or she can resume practice in the Philippines. Di ba yun yung updating ng IBP dues, compliance with the MCLE requirements, taking of the oath of allegiance, di ba? Taking of the lawyer's oath, and so on and so forth. No? Sa topic na yan, nasa pre-week naman natin yan, ethics na siya. Which is a likely question pala sa ethics kasi, paano ba? Pwede kasi kayong tanongin ng yan or sasabihin sa inyo, recite the lawyer's oath. Pwedeng ganun yung tanong, pwedeng ganito. Kasi in both scenarios, para kayo magsusulat ng talaga eh. Requirements, basically sa lawyer's oath naman, line per line, kailangan maisulat nyo. Yun naman sa isa, kailangan lahat ng requirements alam nyo. Okay. Anyway, doon tayo sa appointive official at saka elective official. So alam naman natin sa elective official, tandaan nyo at the time of the filing of the certificate of the candidacy, this cannot be done later. Hindi ka pwede mag-file ng COC ngayon. Pwede pala itanong sa inyo to, no? Kasi filing na ng COC. Di ba? Malapit na. Di ba September kayo magte-take? Baka next month, filing na. So, baka itanong sa inyo. O ngayon, di ba magpa-file ng COC? Hindi pwedeng magpa-file ka ng COC ngayon, next week, saka ka mag-renounce. Saka ka mag-oath of allegiance, no? Dapat before. Actually, hindi nga at that time eh. No? Paano naman at that time of the certificate of candidacy, pupunta ka sa COMELEC doon. Eh, iba yung lugar para mag-renounce ka. Eh. Di ba? Ng foreign citizenship mo. Ibang lugar yun sa embassy. Okay. So, ang gagawin, before the filing of the certificate of candidacy, nagawa mo na yan. Ano yung dalawa? Retaking of the oath of allegiance, no, to the Philippines and renouncement of all foreign citizenships of the candidate. Otherwise, bakit po siya matatanggal? Okay. Sa balota. Ba't siya matatanggal sa balota? Because of material misrepresent na. Pag-connect-connect na natin lahat. No? Na pag-connect-connect na lahat, kayo na bahala kasi pre-week naman to eh. Later, sabihin natin, nilagay niya kung sa COC niya, Filipino o hindi daw siya dual citizen. Siyempre, pag lumaban ng local official yan, ma-disqualify din siya under the local government code kasi dual allegiance. Pero aside from that, wag na yun. Wag na yun kasi ano pa yan eh, LGC pa yan eh. Gamitin na lang natin yung Omnibus Election Code. Ano ba nakasulat dyan? Material misrepresentation in the certificate of candidacy. Yun ang ginagamit na grounds usually sa COMELEC pag file ng DQ case against a candidate. Sabihin natin malakas yung kandidato. Oh. Kaya lang may doubt as to his or her citizenship, allegiance. Hindi naman doon sa LGC normally, hindi naman yung LGC na yun ang nag-apply. Well, hindi pala. Yung LGC na yun, yun yung supporting. Yun. Yun yung supporting legal basis. Ang main laging ginagamit dyan para matanggal sa balota yung tao, sasabihin, may material misrepresentation ka, ba't nilagay mo, Pilipino ka lang? Dapat nilagay mo PhilAm, normally PhilAm eh. O Phil-Canadian ka. Bakit hindi mo nilagay yun? Okay? So, ano kailangan ipakita? Ipapakita mo yung COC. Siyempre, public, napakadali naman, public document yan. Okay. Ipapakita mo ngayon ebidensya. Next is mag-produce ka ng ebidensya showing na siya ay isang American citizen. Anong example? May US passport pa. O, American citizen yan. At yun pa yung ginagamit niya. Okay? Dalawa lang na yung i-present mo. Okay ka na. Tanggal yan. Di ba? Hindi na kailangan ng local government code. Bakit siya matatanggal sa bakit siya matatanggal sa Bakit siya matatanggal sa balota? Kasi walang COC na valid in the first place. 'Di ba? Hindi dahil sa LGC, but because there was no valid COC in the first place. How can you be considered a valid candidate, an official candidate in the elections if there was a void COC? There was no COC in the first place, so you were not a candidate ever. Yan. Okay? Which leads us to sa isang no? Baka matanong kayo, differentiate yung Section 78 ba yun? Section 78 of the Omnibus Election Code. Sandali lang. Yan. How do you differentiate? Tama. Section 68 of the Omnibus Election Code from Section 78, 68 at saka 78. How do we differentiate the two? Yung 68 po, yan. The candidate who was disqualified under Section 68 had a right to the office. He was a de jure officer. On the other hand, if the COC was canceled because under Section 78 of the code, no, the candidate had no right to the office because there was a void COC. In other words, he was a de facto officer. No? So yung unang pagkakaiba, de jure, de facto. Bakit sa de jure? Because he had a right to the office. He was just disqualified for a ground provided under Section 68. On the other hand, sa Section 78, he was a de facto officer. Why? He had no right to the office. Why walang right? Because there was no valid COC in the first place. Second, the rules on succession, tandaan nyo to, applies when a candidate is disqualified under Section 68 of the OEC. Ito po, nasa kaso naman ng Supreme Court, no? This is a Supreme Court case naman, so I will tackle it openly, okay? Yung sa umiyak ako, okay, pagod na, pang-walong subject ni, okay. Yung sa Laguna po, no, yung laban ng governor dyan dati, magkalaban si A at saka si B. Yan. Si A ang nanalo. Si B, talo. Yung natalo, si B, nagfile siya ng petition. Ipinapa-disqualify niya si A dahil overspending. Overspending is a ground under Section 68. Napakita, overspending ano, nadali. Nadali, overspending. So ano mangyayari kay A? Disqualified siya as governor of Laguna. Who will become the governor then? The vice governor. Following the rules on succession. Okay? Because letter A, because Mr. A had a right to the office. He was actually validly elected and he validly occupied that position as the governor of Laguna. It's just that he is disqualified for some reason. Diba? That reason is overspending. On the other hand, kapag natanggal yan, if the officer, no, de facto officer was removed because of Section 78, material misrepresentation in the COC, di ba? He had no right to the office. Okay. Since he had no right to the office, the rules on succession will not apply. Instead, the second placer, who was a qualified candidate, no, became the first placer in the vote count among the qualified candidates. Ano po yan? Ipag-ukumpara natin yung kaso ni E.R. Ejercito case at saka yung si Makiling. Si Makiling, COC. Kasi nga, dual allegiance. Okay? Yung Ejercito case, disqualified. He was tawag dito. He was a qualified candidate, okay, as the governor of Laguna, but he was disqualified due to overspending. So po nagkaiba sa grounds. Okay? Yung una, si Ejercito case, no? Qualified but disqualified. Itong pangalawa, si Makiling, he was never qualified. Since he was never qualified for being dual citizen, dual allegiance, okay? For having dual allegiance. The second placer in the election was actually not the second placer. He was the first placer among the qualified candidates. He was the first placer among the qualified candidates. Since he was the first placer, he will become he will assume the office. Not the vice governor, not the vice mayor. You get the point. Okay. Third. Okay na to. We're good. Natakil ko na to pero medyo lumipad na tayo sa mga gusto ko itakil. Okay. Next tayo. Okay nga pala, nasa reacquisition tayo, no? So, last palang topic dyan na natatanong, no? Tandaan nyo, sa derivative citizenship under RA 9225, the spouse will never be benefited. Okay? Yung derivative citizenship will not benefit the spouse of the former natural-born Filipino citizen, no? Who lost his citizenship and he reacquired it later on. His spouse will not be benefited by this reacquisition. Only an unmarried child who was under 18 years of age. Okay? Malamang. Sa bagay kasi sa ibang bansa kasi hindi naman 18 years old ang di ba? Ang para magkaroon ng valid marriage, may iba 14, di ba? May iba 16, no? Basta tandaan niyo po sa Philippines, sa in derivative citizenship, unmarried child below 18, no? will have derivative citizenship. So, ibig sabihin, pag nag-reacquire ng Philippine citizenship si Juan de la Cruz, naging siyang dati siyang Pinoy, naging Amerikano, magiging Pinoy na ulit. Yung anak niya magkakaroon ng derivative citizenship. Ito, di ko nabanggit sa discussions ko before. Yung pong bata, natural born o naturalized Filipino citizen? Natural born. Why? Who are natural born citizens of the Philippines? Diba? Nakalagay dyan is, they became Filipino citizens, no, without performing any act, diba, to acquire or perfect their citizenship. That child did not do anything. He did not do anything or she did not do anything to become a Filipino citizen. His father, his mother performed the act, not him, not the child. So the child became a Filipino citizen without performing anything. Anong tawag sa kanya? Natural born. Okay, Filipino citizen yung bata. Okay? So, paano po attorney kapag naman ano na, 21 anyos na yung bata? Hindi wala siyang derivative citizenship. Ano labas doon? Kung gusto niya maging Pinoy later on, magpapanaturalize siya. Okay? So, ano pinagkaiba? Yung age. Tandaan yung age lang normally kung matatanong kayo sa derivative citizenship. Yung age. Kasi malamang unmarried. Malamang unmarried yan. Di ba? Sa 18. Doon kayo magkakatalo dyan. Okay. Ano ba mga tatakal dito? Yung Mercado versus Manzano case, no? Saka yung Makiling nga. No? Tandaan nyo, RA 9225, no? This does not apply to uh, dual citizens. Kasi dual allegiance and dual citizen, they are different. Dual allegiance and dual citizenship are different concepts. The first one, no, dual allegiance happens because the person did a positive act to acquire two citizenships, two or more citizenships. He did a positive act. Yung pangalawa naman, dual citizenship, no? Ito yung sa Manzano case, no? The person became uh, citizens of multiple states, no? Without performing any positive act, no? He became a citizen of multiple states because of the concurrent, tandaan nyo to, the concurrent application of the laws of multiple states. Nangyayari yan sa Philippines at saka sa US normally. Maraming ganyan kasi marami pong OFWs, di ba? Sabihin natin, OFW. Ngayon, nabuntis sa US, nanganak sa US, Pilipina. Malamang, alam namang Pilipino. No? Pilipina. Napunta na ibang bansa, nabuntis, nanganak doon. Yung anak po niya, pwedeng maging presidente ng Pilipinas, pwedeng maging presidente ng US. Why? Kasi sa US, if you are born there, you are I don't know kung may natural born American sa kanila. Basta yon, kung ano man yung conversion ng natural born Filipino citizen sa atin, yun sa kanila. Okay? If you're born there, no, regardless of your blood, regardless of your origin, of your DNA, of your genes, regardless of these things, you are an American citizen. No? Kaya mapapansin niyo po, no, maraming apelyido ngayon na if you watch American politics, no. Marami pong mga senators, no, maraming senators na ang apelyido nila parang Latino. Marami, no. And anyway, marami pati ano nila yung congress people, congress men and women nila. No, yung representatives nila, apelyido is Latino. Kasi nga pinanganak doon, automatic, pwede ka nang lumabang hanggang presidency. Okay. Sa Philippines naman hindi ganoon, 'di ba? Tayo by blood eh. Jus sanguinis. Sa kanila jus soli, no? So OFW, 'di ba? Nanganak doon. So natural born American siya, natural born Filipino din siya because his mother or her mother is a Filipino, an OFW when he or she was born. You get the point? Okay. Yun. So, last palang topic doon is a person having dual allegiance no, must comply with RA 9225 before he files no, his certificate of candidacy. Otherwise, he will be disqualified. Okay? On the other hand, persons with dual citizenship, no, they do not have to comply with RA 9225 before they can become candidates, valid candidates in the Philippine elections. No? They just have to file a certificate of candidacy and state in that certificate of candidacy that he is a Filipino. Ilalagay mo doon no, sa COC mo. Once you do that, no, kung ikaw man yung PhilAm, kung ikaw man yun, once you do that, you've already, the Philippines considers, no, it is considered in the Philippines that you already renounced your foreign citizenship. If you filed a COC and in the COC, you stated that you are a Filipino citizen only. Okay? Malamang, alam nga masabing PhilAm siya dun sa COC, di ba? Para namang nananadya kapag dual citizenship, hindi dual allegiance. No? Okay. Next topic, no? So, ano tayo? We've already tackled custodial investigation, national territory, amendment or revision to the Constitution, exprop, no? Power to ratify treaties, reacquisition of citizenship, sa kanil pa bonus pa tayo, Section 68 and 78 of the Omnibus Election Code. Next topic natin, my favorite sa political law, okay, Equal Protection Clause. This is my favorite topic. Why? Kasi, ano ba? Social issues. Karamihan po ng social issues sa bansa, no? Equal Protection Clause lagi. No? Like yung mga rights ng mga tao, rights ng mga genders, no? Rights ng mga, ano pa ba? Workers, lagi po nagkakaroon sa Equal Protection Clause. Okay, let's go there. Guys, by the way, napansin ko pala no, sa political law before I start sa Equal Protection Clause. Yung mga tanong sa Consti 1, spread out siya. Okay? Spread out siya unlike sa Consti 2, which makes sense kasi ang Consti 2, ilang provisions lang naman yan di ba? Marami lang talagang doctrines na nanggaling sa kaso and marami kang analysis na kailangan gawin sa Bill of Rights. Pero maiksi lang naman yung pages ng Consti. On the other hand, ng Bill of Rights, no? On the other hand, yung Consti 1, mahaba. Diba? Halos yung 90% ng caudal nyo, well, di naman 90%, OA naman nun. 50% ng caudal nyo, Consti 1. On the other hand, yung Consti 2, what? Hindi ko alam sa caudal nyo, mga 10 pages max. Diba? May bilis. No? So, what I'm trying to say is, mag-second read na kayo, di ba? Ang assumption natin ngayon, July, August, second read time. Second read time na ngayon. No? So, if you were able to manage your time properly, nasa second stage na tayo ngayon ng pagbabasa. Tandaan nyo, sa political law, ang suggestion ko, since maraming nauulit naman na topic sa political law, sa Constitution, focus na kayo doon. Okay? Sabihin natin, may mga topics ka na hindi get sa Consti 1. May mga topics ka rin na hindi get sa Consti 2. No? It happens both ways. It happens both ways. No? Siyempre, hindi naman madali ang political law din. Challenging din siyang subject. Ang suggestion ko sa inyo, if you do not get topics no, in both, for both subjects, subjects ng law school, Consti 1, Consti 2, unahin niyo Consti 2. Okay, why? Kasi, mas sure tayo that your efforts, we are more certain that your efforts will, ano ba? You can, tawag dito, parang mas ma-ROI, yun. Mas may effect talaga yung efforts nyo sa Constitution na pagbabasa once you take the bar. Why? Kasi mas nakikita natin yung mga madalas na nauulit na topics. Yun naman ang point ko eh. Kaya ako tinitingnan talaga at sinasabi din sa inyo yung mga nauulit na topics kasi malamang sa malamang ito rin yung tatanong ulit. Ilang beses ko na tinatanong to. At kung ito madalas na natatanong, kung ito ang una kong pag-focusan sa second reel ko, chances are, pag lumabas ito sa bar, ano talaga, aanihin ko yan. Di ba? Unlike halimbawa, spread out yung topic consti 1, no? Mas spread out siya. Hindi mo sure na pag binasa mo yung midnight appointment, sabihin natin, o yung, ano ba tawag dito, privilege speech. Di ba? Privilege from arrest. Kung pag binasa ko to, hindi ako sure na mag-aaraw-ay ako dyan. Aanihin ko yan, kikitain ko yan kapag nag-bar na. Kasi pwedeng hindi matanong. Di ba? Qualifications ng party list representative. Covered dyan sa, tawag dito, covered dyan sa syllabus. But we're not sure na itatanong. On the other hand, pag binasa ko yung search and seizures, ilang beses, 2 times, 3 times, kung marami tayong time talaga, no? 3 times yung basahin yung search and seizures, guys. Aba, mas magbe-benefit ka kasi wala atang taon, tandaan nyo to. Walang taon na walang search and seizure. Nung time ko, yun ang pinakamahirap. Na, na-shock nga ako doon sa tanong na yun eh. Feel ko nga yun yung tanong lang, nag-isang tanong nung bar ko na partial points ako. Yung tanong na yun sa search and seizure kasi ang hirap talaga. Yeah, I remember that question, no? So, yung next bar may ganun din. Diba? At kung di mo kayo tanongin yan sa political o sa remedial lang itatanong eh. Kung di kayo banatan sa first day, sa last day. Hindi talaga pwedeng hindi itatanong every year na ginawa ng Supreme Court for the bar. Itatanong yun. That's what I'm trying to say. So, if you do not get search and seizure, sabihin natin, and hindi mo rin get yung sabihin natin, ano ba magandang topic na medyo mahirap sa political law. Ayan. Sabihin natin, hindi mo get yung apportionment of legislative districts. Alam mo naman yan. Alam niyo naman yan, di ba? Yung uh, how can there be a city? How can there be a province? Process for creating a province under the local government code and so on and so forth. Yung mga ganyang bagay, guys. Yan ba pag-focusan nyo kung di nyo get o yung search and seizure na di nyo rin get? Sa search and seizure kayo. No? Kasi kung pupusta ka na lang, sabihin natin, no? Kasi ngayon we're just we're predicting. So we're making yun nga, wala lang pusta, pero we're actually making bets, 'di ba? Tumataya tayo na ito itatanong. O yun doon ka dapat sa mas malaki chance mo na matanong ka, 'di ba? Galingan mo doon kung medyo lagging ka pa doon, no? Lacking and lagging. Doon ka pumunta. Kasi hindi pwedeng hindi tatanong. Do not procrastinate. Nagiget ko yan. Na-experience ko din naman yan before. Kasi nahirapan ako sa topic, ipahuhuli ko siya. Di ba? Sabihin natin, meron akong 10 na hindi get na topics. Yung 7, medyo malapit-lapit na ko nang mag-get. Tapos yung 3, hindi ko talaga get. So 7 out of 10, I'm near. Okay? Medyo kaya na. Kahit paano 50% get na. Yung 3, hindi talaga. Tapos yung isa sa 3 na yun, search and seizure. Sabihin natin, 3 na yan. Search and seizure, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. 3 na yan. Yung hindi mo get. Dapat yun ang unahin mo kasi wala nang bias. Yun ang itatanong talaga sa bar. Nung panahon ko na tanong sa akin, freedom of speech at saka search and seizure. Hindi ata nagtanong ng religion nun. Yeah. Pero you get my point, no? You get my point. Yan. Remove your bias, no? If may hindi ma-get na topics, unahin mo yung mas madalas na natatanong. Nasa bar stats naman natin yung kung ano yung mas madalas. Doon mo balikan ng balikan. No? Doon ka bumalik ng bumalik hanggang sa get mo na. Kasi, ah, favorite mo man topic yan o hindi, itatanong yan. Hindi naman ikaw magdidikta ng itatanong sa bar. Bar examiners and the Supreme Court and the bar chair will conduct the bar exams. So, you get the point. Yan. So, ano tayo? Equal protection. So, sa equal protection, syempre, mas mahaba yung discussion ko dito nung lecture, no? Kasi nga, sinasabi ko naman sa enrollees na the Equal Protection Clause, no? The Equal Protection Clause, it can be violated 2 ways. What are the 2 ways? Una is, there was a distinction when there should be none. Gumawa ng distinction ng law, dapat wala. No? Ano usual example niyan? E di yung sa Migrant Workers Act. Sabi diyan, yung mga mga OFWs na mas mahaba ang term, di ba yan yun yung ano, yung sa sweldo, whichever is higher, yung, tawag dito, remaining balance no, sa wages niya, yung remaining balance no, sa remaining months of the contract, or, anong ba isa? Anyway, nawala sa isip ko, babasahin ko na lang. Kasi unconstitutional na yun, so di ko na kinabisado. RA 8042. Ayan. Okay. Section 10. Ayan. No. Ayan. Ito pala. Okay, whichever isa yan. Ito. Nakalagay dito sa sa Migrant Workers Act. The worker shall be entitled to the full reimbursement of his placement fee and the deductions made with interest at 12% per annum. Ito po yung unconstitutional na portion. Plus his salaries for the unexpired portion of his employment contract or for 3 months for every year of the unexpired term, whichever is less. Okay. So ano pong ginawa ng provision na to? No? Nag-discuss na ako, wala pa man yung sinulat ko sa board. Sabi diyan in Tagalog, kapag na illegally dismiss yung OFW, ibibigay sa kanya yung sweldo niya doon sa unexpired portion pa ng kontrata. Or 3 months for every year of unexpired term whichever is less. Okay. So ano po ang nangyari dito? Gumawa po ng distinction ang law. Yung una is yung mga tao na less than 1 year na lang yung kontrata. At yung pangalawa, yung mga OFWs na long term pa yung contract, 2, 3 taon and so on. Nagkaroon po ng distinction. Okay? Kasi, ano po ang resulta niyan? Sabihin natin, 11 months to go ka na lang. Ibibigay sa 11 months. So sabihin natin, 50,000 per month. 550,000 na makukuha mo. Kaya lang, kapag 2 years ka pa, nalugi ka pa. Kasi 3 months lang for every year of the unexpired term eh. 2 years to go. O de 6 months lang ang ibibigay sa'yo. 50,000, 300K lang ang makukuha mo. On the other hand, kapag 11 months to go ka na lang, lahat ibibigay sa'yo. Salary of for the unexpired portion of the employment contract, 11 months. De times 50, 550. Yung isa naman, 3 plus 3 times 50. Diba? 300K lang. So, lugi po yung longer term ang contract. There was a distinction between two classes. No? Between two classes, one is those with shorter remaining period. And isa is longer remaining period sa contract. There should have been none. Because there is no substantial distinction between the two classes. Diba? Where's the substantial distinction between a person between an OFW with shorter contract and an OFW with a longer contract? There's nothing. So the equal protection clause was violated because a distinction was made when there should have been none. Pangalawa is there was no distinction when there should have been one. Oh, di ba? Ilang ulit na to. Pag inuhuli ka, tagal kong diniscuss nito. Yan. Ang sabi ko, distinction was made when there should have been none. Pangalawa is, distinction was not made when there should have been one. Sa pangalawa, hindi po pinaghiwalay ng law ang dalawang grupo pero dapat pinaghiwalay niya kasi magkaiba sila. Mas madali talaga ng pagtagalog. Pag Tagalog in-explain, ang dali. Itong isa, pinaghiwalay ng law pero dapat hindi. Itong isa, hindi pinaghiwalay pero dapat oo. So ngayon, hayaan na natin itong pangalawa. Ilang ibig sabihin. This is hindi siya masyado natatanong. Okay, based on stats na din, no? Based on the bar questions throughout the years, hindi siya masyado natatanong. Ang tanong po lagi andito sa una. Why? Kasi dito po papasok yung 4 requisites for valid classification. For valid classification, no? Kaya dyan po magtatanong lagi. Dyan magtatanong lagi kasi mayroong requisites. Tandaan nyo, favorite na favorite yan. Tandaan niyo pag may requisites, yan ang ano, like that's cash money bro kung ikaw kung bar taker ka. And at the same time, gustong-gusto rin siya tinatanong ng bar examiners kasi this will easily test the competence, di ba? Ano ba? The understanding of the bar taker. If you can apply requisites properly, blow by blow naman yan, di ba? Step by step. Kung kaya mong i-apply talaga, fit kang maging lawyer. Ganun naman yun eh. Di ba? Ang dali niyang gawa ng tanong kasi isang butas lang sa apat, sabihin natin. Di ba? Invalid classification na, so violation na ng equal protection clause. Di ba? It's simple. The bar question can be made, can be, wag naman easily, mali naman yung simple. Can be simply. Iba yung easy, iba yung simple. Easy be simple. Simple but challenging, no? Yun, the bar examiner can make simple but challenging questions just by, di ba, checking the requisites. And on the other side, kung hindi mo talaga get yan, minimemorize mo lang, deads. Di ba? So, di ba, win-win. Madaling, yun pala, simpleng gumawa ng challenging na tanong. Ikaw na-challenge ka naman, di mo kasigit. O di, nalaman nila kung sino ready o hindi maging lawyer. That's why, pag requisites, sabi ko nga sa iyo, cash money, sabi ko nga sa inyo, money talaga yan. Basically, cash money, 3 points. Basically, kung get mo. Ilang beses ko na sinasabi, ilang versions ko na sinasabi ito sa inyo. Pag requisites at get mo, matik yan. I-apply mo na lang yung 3, 4 na yan. Alam mo na kung ano yung sagot o hindi. So, double-edged sword. Kung nag-memorize ka lang, hindi talaga tayo papasa. Pero kung get mo yan, sabi ko nga, cash money, 3 points. 50 points ka, basically, 20 rebounds. Ganun ang stats mo kung nasa NBA ka. Kasi automatic, kung may full credit agad sa bar. Just by knowing the requisites. O, ano yung una? Substantial distinction which makes for real differences. Okay, ubus na yung ink natin. Yun ang problema. Next is germane to the purpose of the law. Next is not limited to existing conditions. No? Initials na nilalagay ko. Last is the the provision, no, applies equally to all members of the same class. Normally po, lumalabas ang tanong sa number 1 at saka sa number 4. Kasi pag walang substantial distinction, malamang wala din itong number 4. Madalang po itong number 3 at saka number 2. Madalang yan. Okay? Especially number 2. Madalang. Madalang po. Okay? Sabi, the distinction must be germane to the purpose of the law. So basically, sabihin natin sa ano, yung second requisite, takal ko na lang din. Ibig mo sabihin nito, you need to analyze what's the purpose. Okay. Purpose of the law. Ito is, the distinction is not limited to existing conditions. Distinction lagi ito. Distinction is not limited to existing conditions. And last is, hindi pala provision. The distinction applies equally to all members of the same class. Okay. So, how do we, ano ba? Let's make examples. Let's make examples. So, sabihin natin, ano ba magandang example? Okay. Ayan, sabihin natin. Sabi sa law, gumawa ng law, sabi sa law. Gumawa ng law, sabi, ang motor vehicles, daw, o pala motor vehicles tuloy. Agit. Okay. Sabihin natin, ang electric vehicle, ayan. Sabi, ang electric vehicle o electric vehicle o hybrid vehicle ka, no? Sabi, exempt ka sa number coding. Pero kapag, hindi ka electric vehicle, no? Hindi ka hybrid vehicle, no? Ano ka, basically, yung usual na vehicle, regular vehicle, okay, in the Philippines, subject ka sa number coding. So sabihin natin, ang number mo is, sabihin natin, ang last digit ng plate number mo is 1. So sa Monday, di ka pwede gumamit ng kotse sa Metro Manila. Pero kapag hybrid o electric vehicle ka, kahit number 1 yan, pwede kang lumakad tuwing Lunes. Pwede, isa hindi. No? O yan, ganda, no? Tanong, was the equal protection clause violated? Tandaan nyo, the answer is no. Why? Ito, di ba sabi nga, equal protection clause is violated if a distinction was made when there should have been none. Okay. In this case po, distinction was made and there should have been one. Okay. Okay. Pangatlo scenario. Ito, compliant to sa law. Compliant to sa equal protection clause. Distinction was made when there should have been one. In this case po, nag-distinguish po ang law between electric vehicle at saka hybrid on one side. Ito yung group 1. Yun namang regular vehicles, no? Ito po yung group 2. Group 2. There were two classes, di ba? There were two groups and there should have been distinction between them. Why? Because they operate differently. Electric and hybrid vehicles are beneficial, no? They are tawag dito. They benefit the environment. At the same time, they do not prevent people from traveling from one place to another. Okay. It's environmentally sound. Ayun. These vehicles are environmentally sound. On the other hand, regular vehicles, alam naman natin na they cause emissions, di ba, that are harmful. That are harmful to the environment. So there was a substantial distinction between them. We cannot place all these vehicles in the same group. They operate differently. Okay? Next. This distinction was germane to the purpose of the law. The purpose of the law is to save environment. And it's germane. Di ba? We need to the purpose of the law, I forgot what law it is, no? Yung nag-exempt. Wait lang i-check ko na lang. Kasi meron ding ano dyan pag electric vehicle ka or hybrid vehicle ka, meron ka agad preferred parking space sa mga malls. Makikita nyo yan. Di ba sa mga malls natin yun, mayroong charging stations doon. 'Di ba? Tapos yung charging stations na 'yon malapit sa entrance, pa-elevator ng mall. Nakatakda po sa batas 'yan. Okay, ano ang batas 'yon? EVs and hybrid vehicles exempt from number coding. The law is EVIDA law. EVIDA law. The EVIDA law was passed, no? Electric Vehicle Industry Development Act, no? It was passed to ano ba tawag ito? To encourage the building of the construction, the construction to naging kotse, the building, the creation, the manufacturing of electric and hybrid vehicles to prevent emissions, di ba? Towards a greener society with a fossil fuel free environment. So environment ang problem natin, ang issue nating sinusolve dito. So, yun ang purpose ng law, to save the environment. Is this distinction germane to this? Nakita nyo, iba pag-apply, di ba? Kailangan ina-apply nyo talaga, hindi lang yung binabasa nyo lagi. Okay? Distinction is electric, hybrid, at saka regular. Germane ba yung pag-distinguish natin na ito para ma-comply yung purpose ng batas? Yes. Kasi pag distinguish natin sila, yung binigay natin yung exception sa number coding scheme dito sa isa, mas maraming magiging buyers ng electric vehicle at saka hybrid. Di ba? Ito bibili namin kasi isa na lang bibili namin kotse. Kapag naka-regular vehicle ka, dalawang kotse bibiliin ko kasi kailangan ko rin ng kotse tuwing Lunes. Kasi Lunes kay coding. Dalawa pa bibiliin ko. Mas napamahal pa ako. Napamahal ako kasi dalawang units ang bibilin ko. On the other hand, kapag electric o hybrid ang binili ko, isa lang ang kailangan kong bilhin. I can use that for the rest of the week na wala akong number coding. Di ba? So, it was germane to the purpose of the law, which is to encourage the sale, the distribution of EVs and hybrid vehicles to save the environment. it is not applicable to existing conditions? Yes, it is not applicable to existing conditions because this will only not apply in 2023 or now, di ba? It will apply in the future kasi nga in the future ang gusto natin wala nang fossil fuels. So wala nang regular vehicles. Ang long-term vision is di ba? Greener mobility nga. Okay. So dapat lahat ng kotse soon electric or hybrid na. But 50 years from now, hindi nga siya limited to existing conditions because the law looks forward, it looks into the future. And lastly, the distinction applies equally to all members of the same class. It applies to all electric vehicles. It applies to all hybrid vehicles. Hindi po sinabi na electric vehicles at saka hybrid vehicles lang na mahal. Na kapag 2.5 million ka at least, ikaw exempted ka. Pero kapag below that, hindi ka exempted. Wala pong nakasulat na ganun. Basta EV ka o hybrid vehicle ka, mag-a-apply lang yung manufacturing company. Yung car manufacturing company mag-a-apply lang sila, yung car brand. O, ito po yung sasakyan namin, hybrid o EV. Okay. Diba? O sige, exempted na sa number coding scheme yung sasakyan na yan. It doesn't matter magkano nabili. 1.5, 2 million, 2.5, 4 million. Doesn't matter. All of you are exempted from the number coding scheme. And di compliant sa lahat. Di ba? So nabigyan ko na kayo ng isang example ng na-violate yung sa Migrant Workers Act. Ito yung example ko naman. Ito, sarili ko lang na experience. Na pwede rin matanong sa inyo kasi kapapasa lang ng i-vida law. Kapapasa lang. Okay? Ano kaya ito matanong no kasi arte? Ano kaya ito talaga natanong, no? Well, makikita natin na swertihan lang naman. But you get the point. At the end of the day, kung ito man o hindi matanong o makover man o hindi equal protection clause, at least you've covered yourself. Kasi laging natatanong sa bar yan. Nung taon ko, akala ko freedom of religion yung itatanong doon sa angulo eh. Biglang nag-equal protection clause. Sabi kasi, gumawa daw ng yung Supreme Court daw, sa kaso facts na yun, pinayagan yung holding of, I will just, babasahin ko na lang. Sige. Papakita ko sa inyo, ito pa isang point, no? To tangent na lang. Please, kahit na pareho yung facts doon sa nabasa yung chair's case, hindi po automatic na yun din yung question. Hindi na automatic yun din yung issue. Kung ano man yung issue doon sa doon sa chair's case na nabasa nyo, sabihin natin, people versus XXX. May ganung kaso sa criminal law eh, if I remember correctly. Hindi po automatic na yun din ang itatanong, na yung issue na yun, na nasa people versus XXX, yung itatanong sa inyo. Hindi po automatic. Pwedeng ang gawin ng bar examiner is kunin yung facts, pero sa ibang angulo kayo tatanungin na wala doon sa case na yun. Which happened in this case. It happened in this case. Nasabihin ko sa inyong bar question ngayon. Sandali lang. Asan ba yung, ayan. Ayan. Yung pangalan ng kaso na to, Tony Valenciano, if I remember correctly. Tama ba ako? Yep, Inre Tony Valenciano. It's a 2017 case, no? So, basta ang doon po sa kaso kasi na yun, pinapayagan daw yung holding of masses sa halls of justice. So, sabi ang tanong ang issue doon sa kaso na yun is na-violate ba yung freedom of religion, na-violate the establishment clause. Di ba establishment clause yan eh? Kasi ba't daw pinapayagan ang holding ng Catholic masses sa loob ng halls of justice? Di ba dapat public building daw yun? So dapat walang religious expression, walang misa sa loob. Yun yung topic dun sa kaso na yun. So sabi ng Supreme Court doon, hindi po na-violate yung freedom of religion. Kasi, tawag dito, incidental yun. Incidental kasi siya. Okay. Anyway, babasahin ko sa inyo ngayon yung marami pala sinabi sa case na yun. Hindi lang incidental na yun. Yun lang yung naalala ko at the top of my head. Ito lang yung gusto kong i-drive home sa inyo. Babasahin ko yung bar question. The executive judge of the regional trial court prohibited the conduct of daily prayers for Muslims inside any room of the halls of justice, even during break time. So sabi, Bawal ang pagdadasal ng mga Muslim sa loob ng Hall of Justice kahit na break time. Bawal silang magdasal. Alam naman natin na Muslims, they pray often, di ba? Kasi nakalagay yan sa ano nila. That's the religion. That's how they express their religious beliefs. No? Sinabi ng judge, bawal. Kahit break time, hindi kayo pwede magdasal. Among Muslims, 5 daily prayers are mandatory. In all of these prayers, Muslims need to face the Qibla. There is a noontime prayer and an afternoon prayer. But unlike the 3 other prayers, these 2 can be recited silently but still on a prayer mat and with body movement. So kailangan talaga may lugar, no, for them to express their religious beliefs. Ito ngayon, next paragraph. Previously, there was a Supreme Court resolution that allows Catholic masses to be held during break time inside halls of justice. Di ba? Parang yung sinabi ko sa inyong kaso ni Inre Tony Valenciano. There was only one dissent to this resolution on the ground of strict separation of church and state in relation to acts of worship. Now, fourth paragraph, the executive judge of the RTC in this case was a member of the Catholic institution and he is perceived to be conservative. So the question is, did the executive judge violate the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution? What I'm trying to say is, pareho yung facts. Halos. Binago lang ng konti ng bar examiner dito sa taong ko to. 2020, 2021 bar yan. Binago lang ng konti, nag-iba na yung issue. Ngayon, ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, baka masyado kayo sabik, gusto nyo ipasok, yung nakalagay doon sa case na nabasa nyo, yan ilalagay yung doktrina doon sa sagot nyo. Dapat hindi na lang kayo nagbasa. No? Kasi tandaan nyo, you are not here to copy and paste things. You are here to analyze. Kaya po ginagawa yan para testingin kung kayang sumagot ng bar taker using his or her own analytical skills. Dapat hindi tayo dependent sa mga nababasa natin chairs cases kasi may mga pagkakataon talaga na talagang parehong-pareho yung issue as stated in that case. Like halimbawa, noong 2023 bar yung kaso is yung, tawag dito, retirement benefits. Yung corona case. Yeah, retirement benefits. Yep, 2021 case to, ayan. In a letter of Mrs. Maria Cristina Corona requesting the retirement benefits of the late former Chief Justice Corona. Natanong po yan sa bar. Yung question, same na same. Sa kung ano yung nakalagay ng mga doctrines sa kaso na yun. May mga pagkakataon pong ganyan. Pero huwag kayong papakasiguro kasi nakita ko na to, no? Nakita ko na rin sa nung nasa law school ako. Ang nangyayari po sa iba, no? Na ayoko sanang mangyari sa inyo, no? Nangyari din siguro sa akin to before, no? Mali ako. Na nabasa nyo yung facts na yun dun sa binasa nyo before ng mga digest, binasa nyo ng mga full text before. Ang gagawin nyo ngayon, ipipilit nyo, yung nabasa nyo before, ipasok dito sa sagot nyo. Get? Kasi parang feel nyo, naku, dapat ang sagot ko nandun sa chairs case na yun. Kasi ito po yung fact ko sa chairs case na yun. Kailangan ito rin yung mabanggit ko ngayon. Mali. Diba? You need to answer using your own analytical skills, whether you read the chairs case or not. Kasi this profession is not only reading. No? This profession, you will be admitted in this profession not because you can read. It's because you can analyze. So, mas maganda pa nga minsan kung di ka nalang nagbasa ng kaso, at least, naisip ng bata, naisip ng examiner, equal protection clause yung tanong, kailangan ko ilagay yung substantial distinction, germane, blah, blah, blah. Yan po pala yung sagot. Kasi hindi ako nagbasa ng case eh. Yan ang nasa isip ko, yan ang turo, di ba? Yan ang nabasa ko sa books, yan ang ilalagay ko. Kung alam na case eh. Mas mataas pa yung grade niya sa'yo. Ikaw ang nagpakahirap magbasa. Ano ang pagkakaiba? Because of your biases. Because bias ka. May prejudice ka sa isip mo. No, meron kang dapat na ipasok ko yung mga doctrines sa kaso na yun kasi yun yung facts dito. Masayang lang effort mo. Hindi mo ikapapasa yun. Yeah, kaya minsan sinasabi nila, ano ko ba to, hindi nakapag-aral, tapos mas taas pa sa akin. Yeah. Di naman, di naman pwedeng kopyahin at essay ito. So, hindi naman talaga dapat nangungopia. Wala na rin naman nangungopia sa bar, no? O sa law school, wala na kasi essay. Pero mas mataas siya sa'yo. Why? Because nag-overthink ka. Siya hindi. Wala kang chance mag-overthink kung hindi ka rin nagbasa masyado. Kasi you can only think enough. Okay? You can only sufficiently think. You cannot overthink kasi hindi naman madami binasa mo. Oh, but mas mataas siya sa'yo? Kasi nakapag-analyze ng tama. Alam niyo, sinasabi ko to sa inyo kasi nangyari din sa akin before. Because nung mga pagkakataon na ang dami kong nabasa, mas mababa pa yung grado ko. Kasi yung pagbabasa ko, nilagyan ko ng bias. Yun ang recipe for disaster. Bias, sarili mong opinion, ipinapasok mo yung beliefs mo, hindi yung kung ano yung nakalagay sa law. No? Like, ano ba, maraming ganyan ako. Kasi, nagche-check ako lagi ng ano, no, nung marami pa akong time noon, nung bar season, no? Kasi ngayon, 3 week season na. Nung panahon ng bar season, nagche-check ako ng bar Q&A everyday ng mga enrollees. Talagang chine-check ko lahat. Hindi ko na talaga kaya eh. No? Because we don't have enough time. Kasi may gagawa ng materials, gagawa ng content, gagawa ng lectures, gagawa ng lahat, hindi na kaya. Pero marami ako nakakita, ipinapasok nila yung sarili nilang beliefs, political beliefs. Di ba? Hindi naman political science yung ano natin eh, yung course natin, law. So kung ano yung nakalagay sa law, we just apply it accordingly. Ano ko ito, no? Hindi ko alam kung nabanggit ko na ito previously. Alam nyo kung saan nangyayari normal yan? Sa child abuse. Nabanggit ko na ito pala. Pero ulitin ko ulit. Baka mangyari ito kasi political yung tinatakil natin eh. Like an equal protection clause. Oh, like ito. Sasabihin nyo rito, EV, itong hybrid, electric vehicle, regular vehicle. Baka sabihin nyo, walang substantial distinction. Kasi lahat naman sila, ano ba, nagkakos ng traffic sa Philippines. Hindi ganun ang style. Basta i-invoke lang natin kung ano yung papasok sa facts at saka dito sa requisites. We apply it without any biases. O, alam naman natin na yung EBITDA law para sa environment. O di you apply it that way. Hindi yung traffic sa Philippines, hindi yung economic inequality sa Philippines na eto anti-poor. Alam niyo yung mga ganong dialogue. Wag. Okay? And I will go back to sa child abuse case. The child abuse na topic. No? Sinampal ng teacher, yung estudyante, kasi dugyot. Are you saying na hindi child abuse yun? Kasi sasabihin, dinidisiplina lang do'y bata. Huwag ganun. Kasi hindi po yun yung purpose ng law. Hindi yun yung policy ng law na tinatakil nyo. Kaya nga minsan magandang basahin yung policy eh. Yung sa simula, yung Declaration of Principles ng RA 7610. Hindi yun. Sinampal mo yung bata, matik child abuse yan. Malamang, alam naman sinampal sa bahay. Isinampal sa school yan, di ba? Dugyot yung bata, sinampal ng teacher. Malamang, nung sinampal yan, malamang, binubuo ko na yung facts, no? Alang na masampalin sa CR, di ba? So, sa sinampal yung bata, sa labas. Kung hindi man sa classroom, sa corridor, sa library, sa computer lab, maraming tao. Matik yan, kahit na good intention yung teacher, matik yan child abuse yun. Kasi kahit sabihin mo na dinisipin mo lang yung bata, you also intended to degrade the dignity of that child kasi dugyot siya. So you answer accordingly na makukulong yung guilty siya. Ganun po ang style. Okay? Remove your biases. Tingnan mo lang kung ano yung purpose ng law, bakit ipinasaya. Kasi nga, dapat mas maging strict na tayo sa pagpoprotect sa mga bata. So hindi na pwede yung ugali ng 1970s, dadalhin mo ngayon. Ano pa? Nako, ito pa isa. Naalala ko na ng criminal law. Sabihin natin, ito, natanong to nung time ko eh. Nung Diyos ko, kaya naalala ko pa hanggang ngayon din. Well, hindi ko naalala. Natanong yung Safe Spaces Act. Nag-catcall yung Construction workers. Nag-catcall sila doon sa parang LGBTQ member. Tanong, Safe Space Act ba yan? Yes. Sabihin natin, kasi nga, yun yung policy. Parang sinabi ng construction worker, sabihin natin, wag ng LGBTQ sinabi, babae. Miss, ang ganda mo naman. Sabihin natin, good intention, yung construction workers. But the woman felt uncomfortable. After that, can we say na may exposure sa Safe Space Act? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Kasi pwede mo sabing catcalling yun. Di ba? Yun lang naman ako. No? Tingnan nyo lang kasi ano yung purpose ng law. Ano ba yung gustong ipaigting ng law? Bawal yung mga ganyang galawan sa public spaces na sinasabihan natin randomly, ang ganda mo naman, sexy mo naman, mga, alam nyo na yan. Kahit na good intention yun. Okay? Ang sagot nyo dapat sa bar pag yan na tanong, violation of the Safe Spaces Act yan. Kasi that's the purpose. It's the purpose of the law. Okay? Yung naman ako. Okay, so same thing sa political, ano, as the name implies, politika to. So, nag-swing po ang ano rito reasoning. Pwedeng sa pula minsan, pwedeng sa puti. Pero i-apply lang natin kung ano yung sinabi sa batas at saka sa Supreme Court cases. Like, isip pa ako sa ano, Article 678. Powers of the President, sabihin natin, ayan, yung extension ng martial law. Kasi alam naman natin na may limit yung initial proclamation, ilang days lang yan. Pero yung extension, pwedeng 1 taon. Pwedeng 2 taon, depende sa kagustuhan ng Congress. Yun yung nakalagay sa law eh, sa provision ng Article 7. So ano man yung opinion natin na sabihin natin, abuse of power na yan, hindi ganun. Okay, hindi ganun. Ilagay nyo lang kung ano yung sinabi. No, sorry lang, I just had to reiterate this kasi nakakita na ako ng ilan, no? I don't know kung lahat kayo ganun. I'm just saying, may ilan akong nakita na pinapasok nila sa sarili nilang opinion. In my opinion, mga ganyan ang dialogue sa bar na kako sa sample bar Q&A. Malaki adjustment na kailangan natin gawin. Diba? Kasi no one cares about our opinions. No? Hindi naman tayo politiko. Diba? Gusto natin maging lawyer. So, we only care about the law. We only provide the law. Okay. Yun lang naman ako. Okay. Remove your biases. Strictly apply the law. Okay. Next. Tapos na tayo sa Equal Protection Clause. Next topic natin. Okay. Sa ano pa pwede natin topic? Judicial review. Okay. Sa judicial review, tandaan nyo, natatanong tayo normally dyan sa first two requisites. No? Actual case or controversy at saka sa locus standi. Okay? Nagulat ako sa bar exam, no? Sa bar exam mas madalas natatanong yung actual case or controversy. Madalas. Nung taong ko kasi alam mo kung bakit ko sinabi yan. Nung taong ko po, actual case or controversy yung sagot. Okay? So, ayan, bibigyan ko kayo ng example, no? So, okay. Ayan. Ito hindi ko taon to, no? This is ano siguro to 2014 bar. Okay, this 2014 bar. Yep. May multiple choice. Yep, 2014 bar, no? Chief Justice Peralta. Question number, saan ba yun? Nawala ako. Ito, question number 11. In keeping with the modern age of instant and incessant information and transformation, the Congress passed Cybercrime Prevention Act to regulate access to and use of the amenities of the cyberspace. So, andyan yung mga cyber squatting, cyber libel, and so on and so forth. Okay. While ostensibly, no, the law is intended to protect the interests of the society, some of its provisions were also seen as impermissibly invading and impairing widely cherished liberties of the people, particularly the freedom of expression. Before the law could even be implemented, petitions were filed in the Supreme Court questioning the said provisions by people who felt threatened for themselves as well as for the benefit of others who may be similarly affected but not minded enough to challenge the law. The Solicitor General countered that there is no basis for the exercise of the power of judicial review since there's yet been no violation of the law. And therefore, there was no actual case or controversy to speak of. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo yun ang tinatanong normally. Aside from the fact that the petitioners have no locus standi since they do not claim to be in imminent danger of being prosecuted under the law. So natanong din pala yung locus standi. So, question is, can the court proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective? Unang-una, iba po ang tawag dito. Iba po ang effectivity ng law. Iba naman ang pasado na. Okay. Ay, di, actually, I'm sorry. Sabi po dito sa kaso na to, the Congress has already passed the act. So, ibig sabihin, ano ba tawag dito? Uh, it will be effective. Yan na. It will be effective later on na. No? Kung ano man yung sinabi dun sa law na after publication, 4 weeks after, 1 month after its publication, it will be effective later on. Pasado na siya. It's just that, hindi pa siya effective sa Philippines. Kasi nga, we have to comply with the publication requirements first sa official gazette, di ba? And baka nga may time na nilagay doon, no? Publication, tapos 3 weeks, ganun, bago magkaroon ng effective date. So ngayon ang tanong, can the people file a petition questioning this law even before the law even before the effectivity date of the effectivity date before the effective date of the law? Pwede na ba? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay? Sabi ko dito sa sagot ko sa bar, no? Yes, the court can proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective. No? Case law dictates that there is an actual case or controversy when the case presents conflicting or opposite legal rights that may be resolved by the court in a judicial proceeding. It must involve issues that are definite and concrete and affect legal relations of parties with adverse interest. It must also be demonstrated that there is grave abuse of discretion in the assailed government act in the context of actual, not merely theoretical acts. Further, no, when an act of the legislative department is seriously alleged to have infringed the Constitution, settling the controversy becomes the duty of the court. No? By the mere enactment of the questioned law or the approval of the challenged action, the dispute is said to have ripened into a judicial controversy even without any other overt act. Okay? So, yan ang nakalagay po dyan. No? So, actually, in all force, no? Pasok na pasok yung doctrine natin dun sa bar question, which is, even if hindi pa naman effective, if it is already enacted, if it is already approved, it is already ripe for judicial resolution. There was already yan yung mga dialogue lang. Ripe, actual case, pare-pareho yan. Ripe for judicial determination, actual case or controversy, similar. Okay? Ayan. Here, the Cybercrime Prevention Act was already passed by Congress. In other words, the act was already enacted. Thus, a petition can be filed questioning the constitutionality of the act even before the same was implemented. Okay? So, kahit wala pang implementation, ano na siya, pasado na siya. So, it can be questioned already. Okay? Now, ibibigay ko sa inyo tanong ng bar, ng taong ko. Actually, I need to din pala yung question na to. Wait. I'm thinking kung kailangan, iniisip ko po, no, kung kailangan ko bang sagutin yung about sa locus standi. Ayan, no, ito. Hindi ko nga alam nyo sa, yung mga, if ever may mga law students dito na mag-a-avail dito sa mga lectures na to, and naabot nyo part ng lecture na to. Iniisip ko nga kung paano kung ano eh. Like, how will I show, paano ko ipapakita sa inyo. Yung the way I analyze issues and how I answer bar questions. I think kailangan ko siyang gawin ng live. Like ito, yung question dito, ang contention po ng OSG, dalawa. Sabi dito, there is no actual case or controversy to speak of at sinabi rin po ng OSG na the petitioners have no locus standi since they do not claim to be in imminent danger of being prosecuted under the law. So dalawa yung sinabi ng OSG na counter mga contentions ng OSG. However, ang tanong lang naman dito sa bar question na to, can the court proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective? So nakita nyo ang contentions po ng OSG dalawa. Actual case or controversy at saka locus standi. Pero iba po yung tanong. Ang tanong dito, can the court proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective? Yung pong question, actually, hindi niya kinover yung locus standi. So why do we have to address that sa answer natin, 'di ba? If we address that sa answer natin, hindi na siya responsive. 'Di ba? Even if mailagay natin at tama yan, hindi rin po magkakaroon ng extra points. Kasi hindi extra info lang naman siya na maganda namang alam mo, 'di ba? Hindi ka naman mamasamain ng examiner kasi nilagay mo yan. But at the same time, nagpagod tayo pero hindi naman nagdagan yung putos natin kasi tama eh. Can the court proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective? The question, yung mismong question yung may question mark, hindi yung mga sinabi previously dun sa paragraph. The question itself did not say anything about locus standi. Tinatanong lang is, pwede bang i-resolve ng Supreme Court yung kaso na to, kahit na yung law, hindi pa nagkakaroon ng effectivity sa Philippines. That's actual case or controversy only. Hindi locus standi. Kasi dapat, kung magkakaroon po ng question about locus standi dyan, nakasulat din. Can the court proceed to decide the case even if the law has not yet become effective? And even if the petitioners did not state that they were injured by the governmental act. Kung gano'n na nakasulat, now we have to tackle din yung locus standi. Tinatake lang dito effectiveness nung law eh. Effective date nung law. So actual case or controversy lang. Ito sana gusto ko magawa to next time, no. Sa mga law students dyan or mga magdi-defer, no. Gusto ko lahat kayong makikinig nito pasado na, no. Hindi na tayo magkikita ulit sa ganitong setup sa ibang setup na, no. Sa business setup na or professional or no, ano ba? Commercial setup na. Okay. Hindi na bar taker setup, no. Anyway, sa mga magde-defer, ito sana gusto ko mapakita next time. Bakit ganito? Una, gusto kong maipakita how I analyzed. Whether mali ako, tama ako, basta nakita niyo paano kong in-analyze yung question. And how I answered it. I answered it spontaneously, hindi ako titingin sa... Siyempre, pag gumawa kami ng bar Q&A, no, sa mga enrollees, yung ginawa namin bar Q&A, kumuha kami, talagang tinignan namin yung di ba? Supreme Court cases, nag-check kami, para yan, precise. Diba? Pero sabihin natin, pag ginawa ko yung live na yun, yung the way I answer, I think dapat yun. Hindi ko kasi kaya, no, sorry sa mga enrollees din na nakikinig yun. Hindi ko po kinaya yung everyday nag-check. To be honest with you. Kasi, ang dami natin, no. Tapos, i-check ko lahat yung questions everyday. I'm so sorry. I tried to do it. Kaya lang nung sobrang dami na talaga, ang hirap na niyang i-check. So, iniisip ko, instead of doing that, yung minamanual ko lahat, i-check. I think ganun ang gawin, no? Probably, magla-live ako. I can also, i-dry run ko muna to sa Madlang People. I-dry run ko muna siya. Pakikita ko sa inyo paano ko nagsagot. Walang answer, question lang, we analyze it together. Ayun, something like that. I will do that soon. Anyway, ito, actual case or controversy lang to. Actually, so sinabi ko kanina, di ba may locus standi? Wala pala. Actual case or controversy lang yung topic dito sa 2014 bar question na to. Next tayo, sa taong ko. Parang sabi ko sa inyo na, ito wala akong bias. na may bias ako towards actual case or controversy over locus standi. May bias ako kasi ito yung nasa bar exam questions. Ito. Ano bang question yun? Number Ayan. Tingnan niyo, number 10, mga kapatid. Disappointed that both houses of Congress are seriously debating a bill seeking to enable absolute divorce. Nako, timely. Baka magtanong ng something along these lines. Baka tanongan kayo ng about divorce na naman sa bar exam nyo, pero iba naman yung iba yung angulo. Natanong kami ng divorce, so hindi pa naman ganun ka-hot issue. Hindi pa naman to ganun ka-hot issue before. Paano pa ngayon? Di ba? Oh, so yeah, disappointed that both houses of Congress are seriously debating a bill seeking to enable absolute divorce. A citizen filed a petition asking the Supreme Court to order congressional deliberations to stop. Should the petition prosper? Siyempre, hindi. Ano po ang dahilan? Unang-una, walang actual case or controversy. This is just a deliberation, a debate. Where is, di ba, how can there be an actual case or controversy? There must be opposition or conflict of legal rights. Where? What legal rights were opposite in this case? There was none. Di ba? There was a mere debate between legislators. Di ba? That's my first answer. Second answer is basic StatCon, basic poly. The power to enact laws, di ba, are vested with the legislative department. So in this case po, dalawa ang sagot natin, bakit dapat i-dismiss yung petition. First is, the petition must be dismissed because there was no actual case or controversy. At the time of the filing of the petition, no law was passed by the Congress enabling absolute divorce, allowing absolute divorce in the Philippines. There was none. Secondly, if the petition will be granted by the Supreme Court will effectively prevent the Congress from performing its function, which is to create and enact laws. Why? No, because the Supreme Court will prevent the deliberations in the first place. That is unconstitutional. Thus, the petition must be dismissed. Something like that. Of course, di ko lalagay sa bar, sasagot ko sa bar yung why. Why? Di ko lalagay yan. Tuloy-tuloy lang. Because, blah, blah, blah. Comma, because, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Ayan, you get the point. Dalawa na yan, ha? 2014, 2020, 2021 bar. Natatanong lagi yung yung, okay, ito naman, anong taon to? Ano to? Oposa versus Factoran case. This is 2016 bar. No? Ay, di pala oposa. Ay, oh, oposa to. If the defendants assert that the students petitioners who are minors do not have locus standi to file the action, is the assertion correct? No, the assertion is incorrect. Kasi, alam niyo na, pag mga minors na ganyan, in generations yet unborn, environmental case yan. Di ba? Under the Constitution, the state shall protect and advance the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. Article 2. Di ba? By the way, nasa bar syllabus nyo yan, so be warned, guys. Kung mapapansin nyo sa bar syllabus nyo, hindi lahat ng nasa Article 2 inilagay. Pili. One is, if I remember correctly, no, tingnan ko na lang nga din for precision purposes. Inilagay ito yung ecology. O, tama. Ay, wait. Wait, mali ata ako. Sandali lang. Declaration of, ma'am. Hindi pala nilagay. Mali ako. Okay. Forget what I said. Hindi ito included sa bar. Okay, hindi included sa bar to. Move tayo. Kung included mo sa bar to sa remedial law, hindi sa political law. Anyway, so ang point ko lang is focus kayo sa actual case or controversy. Speaking of actual case or controversy, guys. Speaking of that, ano po ang kalaban ng actual case or controversy? moot and academic issue. Kasi pag sinabi mong moot and academic ang issue, mayroong actual case or controversy before. But there was no actual case or controversy now because the case became moot and academic. The issue became moot and academic. Why did it become moot and academic? Because of supervening events. Tandaan nyo. No? May space pa ba ako dito? Ito, ayan. Di ba actual case or controversy? Okay. Magkalaban sila ng versus moot and academic issue o case. Ba't sila magkalaban? Kasi ang moot and academic issue, actual case or controversy yan before. But, hindi na ngayon because of supervening events. Okay, like halimbawa, nagpasa ng case, nagpasa ng law yung Congress enabling divorce in the Philippines. Naku, ito yung isang angulo. Sabihin ko na sa inyo. Pinasa. Kaya tapos siyempre nagpasa. The next day, may petition agad ay for sure yan. Di ba? Ipinasa. Pinirmahan ni Presidente, okay. Ayan, may divorce na sa Philippines. The next day, may petition na agad. Ipinag sa Supreme Court. In violation of the Constitution yung divorce. Why? Kasi it does not promote the sanctity. It does not, tawag dito, it violates the provisions on family sa Constitution. Di ba? Sabi, yun ang contention nila. No? Kasi the Constitution of the Philippines, di ba? Ayan. Article 2, the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. By passing this divorce law, diba, we did not strengthen family life. We weakened family life, sabi ng petition. The next day agad, nag-file, no? Ganun sila ka-prep. Ready na sila. Kaya lang, bago masettle yung issue, bago po masettle yung issue ng Supreme Court, bago ma-resolve yung kaso, the Congress already repealed that law because of public sentiment. Very unpopular yung pagpapasa ng law. Ano nangyari? May repeal na. In toto. Ang ginawa na lang ng, sabihin natin, gumawa ng bagong law yung Congress, nagdagdag na lang ng grounds for annulment. Ayan. Nagdagdag na lang ng grounds for annulment. At saka declaration of nullity of mayors. Nagdagdag na lang. O, yun na lang daw ang ginawa. Tanong, is the issue moot and academic? Moot or academic? The answer is yes. Huwag na pala nagdagdag ng grounds. Basta in-repeal na lang. Ayan. Is the issue moot and academic? Yes. Because of supervening events. What's that event in this case? The subsequent repeal of the law before the petition can be resolved by the Supreme Court. So, ang general rule is the petition will be dismissed. No? The Supreme Court, no, can choose not to discuss, no? not to not to discuss, not to ito, yun nga, tama. Isip ako ng word. Can choose not to discuss, no, the legalities or illegalities of divorce in the Philippines. It will just dismiss the petition outright because the issue became moot and academic. There is no issue to resolve na. May exceptions dyan, di ba? Ano yun? 4. Dito tayo. Una is, yung favorite ko. No? Ano lang to, freestyle. Yung to guide the bench, the bar, and the public. Guide. O, ayan. Bench, bar, public. Ano pa? Evading. Capable. Evading, repeating. Yan yun. Okay? Next is grave violation ng Constitution. Naku, may nakalimutan ata ako ah. Naku, may nakalimutan ako yung pang-4. Paka-transcendental importance ang masabi ko sa inyo. Mali. Para man public interest ba to? PPI? Tingnan ko na lang. Nawala sa loob yung pang-4. Ah, 5 to. So may kulang ako isa. Yeah. Okay, tumama pa ako. Tama naman lahat. Okay. Review. May panglima, no? Ito, may plus one, bago ko nakita to. In the case of Land Bank of the Philippines versus Fastech Synergy, exceptional character of the case. Okay. Pwede pong ilagay kung ipina-enumerate sa atin sa bar, no? Pag pina-enumerate sa bar na, what are the exceptions? No? Dito sa courts will not render judgment on a moot and academic case. What are the exceptions to this? Say the five. Pero para po sa akin, no, para sa pagsagot na lang natin, pag kasi sinabi mong exceptional character, parang ano only the Supreme Court can determine if an action, a petition is an issue pala, a case is exceptional or not. Yun lang naman ako. Same thing for paramount public interest. Parang ano siya, parang bar takers cannot determine that. Kasi hindi naman tayo Supreme Court justices, di ba? Okay. Kaya ako lang, may opinion lang po, no? May opinion lang. Even tong guide the bench to the bar in the public, eh. The case presents an opportunity to guide the bench to the bar in the public. Even this one, eh. So para po sa akin, kung matatanong tayo sa exceptions, kung magkakaroon ng hypothetical question na hindi enumeration dito sa dalawa na ito. Okay? Yung dalawa na yan. It's a grave violation of the Constitution. Kayang-kaya nyo sabihin yan. Why? Kasi you're just applying the law or the provision pala. Constitution pala to. You're just applying the provisions of the Constitution. What constitutional provision was violated? Grave violation lang. O di tapos. Di ba? Hindi natin kailangan i-determine yung public interest, yung exceptional character ng case, yung guiding the bench, the bar, and the public. Hindi natin kailangan i-determine yun. Pag sinabi mong grave violation of the Constitution, we stick to the Constitution. Ano ba yung nandyan? Sa Constitution, na-violate ba nitong law na to? Di ba? Walang basically parang walang discretion on our part. We're just stating facts as stated in the provisions and uh, applying what we know, 'di ba? Sa sagot natin. Okay, sa tanong pala. Ito naman isa capable of evading, yet repeating review. Mayroon dalawa requisites yan. Yung dalawa na yan may requisites, no? Okay. In the case of ito, hindi pala it's not meron silang dalawa, may two requisites, no. In the case of Oclarino versus Navarro 2019 case, no. So ito po. Okay. So ayan na. Alam nyo guys, masarap naman talaga i-lecture yung no, yung political law. Maganda naman siya kaya lang kasi kaya ang parang initial analysis ko hindi ko siya ayoko siyang i-discuss. Kasi ang gusto ko talaga yung yung marami akong comparison na ginagawa like sa remedial law, marami akong tables na ginagawa kasi kailangan din i-distinguish yung mga bagay kasi mga technical terms sila like yung annulment of judgment versus relief, summary judgment versus judgment on the pleadings. Mga ganyan yung gusto ko eh. Litis pendentia versus res judicata, BP 129 versus venue, di ba yung mga ganun? Substituted service of summons, personal service. Ganun sana. Pero maganda rin talaga yung political i-discuss kasi ang dami mo talaga magagawang examples kasi tumingin ka lang sa balita. Puro examples na ron. Okay. Anyway, ayan. Merong dalawang requisites tong capable of repeating yet evading review. Dito ko sulat. Ay, kulang na ako ng space. Dito. Ay, wala na. Naubusan na. Wait. Ayan. Yeah. O, number one. Ito. Too short. Too short yung nasa isip ko na alala. Ayan. The challenge action was in its duration too short to be fully litigated prior to its cessation. No? Too short. Pangalawa is There was reasonable expectation that the same complaining party would be subjected. Okay. So the next, ayoko ng reasonable expectation eh. Subjected to the same action. Oh. Yung una pong nakasulat na parang factor dito o requisite, ito yung evading. Evading. Too short eh. Di ba? The issue cannot be resolved. Di ba? The challenge action in its duration is too short to be fully litigated prior to its expiration. In Tagalog, yung issue na to, masyadong maiksi ang pangyayari at natapos na bago siya ma-resolve ng court. Ito, subjected reasonable expectation that the petitioner will be subjected to the same action. Ito po, repeating. Uulit in the future. And this person will be affected by it again. Okay? Ayun. Sabihin natin sa divorce law. Okay. Apply na lang natin. Nag-i siyang moot in academic case, di ba? Kasi nga, may pinasa yung divorce law, nag-file ng petition during the pendency of the resolution. Pending the resolution of the petition, the law was already repealed. So, moot in academic na siya because of supervening events. Ayan. Tanong, should, tawag dito, pagod na. Okay. Should the court render judgment on this moot in academic case? Because any of the 5 exceptions are present. The answer is yes. Well, siyempre. Ang sagot niya normally, para ng public interest yan. Diba? Pero ako ito. Actually, pasok nga sa lahat. Exceptional character kasi divorce. That's so exceptional in the Philippines. Like, same-sex unions. Yung mga ganyan, yung mga exceptional issues in the Philippines, di ba? Pero ako naman, di ba sabi ko, parang we cannot invoke it. Sige, I'll probably change my mind, no? I'm changing my mind now. So, I think you can invoke it naman. Ayoko lang talaga siya, yun lang pala yung nasa isip ko. As much as possible, I don't like invoking this. Kasi how do we justify? You know ang point ko. How do we justify that this case is exceptional? How do we justify that there is paramount public interest in this case? How do we justify that? How do we justify that this will guide the bench, the bar, and the public? Yun lang naman ako. Pero in this case, to, I think pwede nyo naman talaga sabihin, transcendental importance, yung pa isa, TI, di ba? Transcendental importance, saan to? Di ba ito yung sa mga exceptions ng locus standi, di ba? Locus standi, ang pangit na nung board. Ayan, locus standi, di ba? Kahit na hindi ka ma-injure ng governmental act, kung may transcendental importance yung issue, i-resolve pa rin ng court. Anyway, pwede naman pala. You can use this, no? You can use this, di ba? Even ako, while I'm discussing, while I'm thinking, nababago din yung mga notions ko, di ba? Kasi ayoko talaga ng, paano ba? I want you to be fully equipped, no? To, ano ba? Para mayroon kayong bala lagi. Ano man yung iba to sa inyo, mayroon kayong may sasagot. Pwede nyo sabihin, exceptional siya, para mga public interest meron, justify it properly lang. So, why is this case exceptional in nature? Why is that this divorce issue exceptional in the Philippines? Because, kayo na bahala. So, in my case kasi, because Philippines is one of the few countries where divorce is still prohibited. Most of the countries in the world already allow divorce. It's exceptional. At the same time, sa akin, there is paramount public interest in this case because we need to determine what does strengthening the family mean under the Constitution. What does it mean? So, pwede mo sabing guide the bench, the bar, the pound. What does it mean? Diba? Does this mean that divorce is not allowed because we need to strengthen the family life? Or, di ba, ang argument naman is not all families have to have married. Not all families have married couples. Diba? A family be built, no? Uh, without marriage? Can a family be built by same-sex couples? Kasi nga, under our laws, di ba? Same-sex marriage is prohibited. So yeah, assuming that a same-sex couple legally adopts. Well, only one of them will adopt. No? Assuming that one of the no, assuming that they have the same-sex couple has an adopted child, can we consider this as family? Diba? So if we can consider that as family and we can consider live-in arrangements without the benefit of marriage, if we can consider this as family also, how will divorce strengthen how will a divorce law weaken, diba? The family life, something like that, diba? So parang mga public interest din siya, and at the same time it will guide the bench, the bar, in the public, diba? Ngayon, ito pala yung gusto kong i-topic sa inyo. Yung bang issue na to, is it capable of evading yet repeating review? Alam nyo guys, may evading talaga. Na-evade nga eh. Too short, di ba? Malamang too short, kaya nga naging moot eh. Okay? So ang consensus talaga dyan sa capable of evading yet repeating review, yung pangalawa, is there reasonable expectation that the petitioner will be subjected to the same action in the future? Malamang evading. Di ba? The issue, ano ba? The challenge action happened in a short amount of time. Diba? Before it was fully litigated upon. Malamang. Kaya nga naging muti kasi na-repeal na yung law bago pa man ma-resolba. Diba? It's evading. You're repeating ang problem. O ngayon, with that being said, repeating review ba ito, no? We cannot reasonably expect that petitioners will be subjected to the same action in the future. Why? Kasi the Congress now has to pass another law. That's a tedious process. Di ba? Before, a divorce law can be enacted again in the Philippines. It's not repeating. Even if we expect, sabihin natin, nagbago ng konti yung Congress, yung makeup ng Congress, yung mga bagong pumasok, medyo liberal, progressive ang mindset, i-allow natin ang divorce sa Philippines. We can expect that, but it is not reasonable to expect it. Kasi a lot of things must still happen, di ba? Before a new divorce will be enacted. It's not reasonable. We can expect it, but it's not reasonable. So, repeating is not that word repeating is not available because there's no reasonable expectation. RE. It's not reasonable. We can expect, but it's not reasonable. So, it is not capable of repeating it in any review. So, bakit po i-resolve mo in academic issue na to? Because of public interest, because it is exceptional, and to guide. Yan. Okay? You can answer like that pala. So, I want to reconsider what I said earlier. Even sa mga future lectures ko na sa political, if mag-lecture ako sa political, I will also state that transcendental importance, just justify properly. Just justify your position properly. Magkakaroon na tayo ng points na maganda sa question na yun. Okay, so before we end our discussion sa judicial review, no? Naalala ko, pwedeng kombohan kayo eh. Ang tanong sa una, yung requisites ng judicial review, tapos yung next question dyan, operative fact. Yan, doctrine of operative fact. Papasok yan. Kasi combo siya eh. Di ba sabihin natin, pasado, may judicial review, null and void yung batas, sabihin natin. Ngayon, operative fact, next na tanong sa inyo. So, what is the doctrine of operative fact? Ano? So, this is a bar question, no? 2019 bar. Okay? 17, question number 17 sa 2019 bar, subsection B. Mas maganda talaga mag-lecture kapag mayroon kang legal basis. Bakit mo di-discuss? Di ba? Ang ganda ng ganda. Bakit mo sinasabi attorney to? Kasi tinanong ko siya previously. Question number 17. Okay. So, ang tanong is, in 2014, Congress enacted an appropriation law containing a provision that gives individual legislators the discretion to determine post-enactment how much funds would go to a specific project or beneficiary which they themselves also determine. Consequently, disbursements were made in the interim pursuant thereto. Eventually, Mr. Z filed a petition questioning the constitutionality of the statutory provision on the grounds that it violates the separation of powers principle. On the other hand, certain congressmen argued that there was nothing wrong with the provision because after all, the power to appropriate belongs to Congress. So, unang tanong, no? Actually, in this case naman, hindi naman pala judicial review unang tanong. Unang tanong dito is separation of powers talaga. So in this case po, how will we answer? But na-violate yung separation of powers? Because the power to enact laws, including appropriation laws, di ba, is vested with the legislature. On the other hand, the power to implement and execute laws, di ba, is vested with the executive department. No? In this case, here, the Congress implemented the law after it enacted the same. Thus, it encroached upon the powers of the President of the Executive Department in violation of the Doctrine of Separation of Powers. Ganon ang pasok. Tapos, di ba? That is the first sub-question. Second sub-question, assuming that the provision is declared unconstitutional, should the disbursements made be returned in light of the doctrine of operative fact? Oh, di ba? May bar question talaga siya. Okay. Next, ang sagot dyan is no. Okay? Because, what does the doctrine of operative fact mean? In short, it nullifies the law, but it sustains its effects.